Hi friends, it's Rainy, and today I have a very special video for you. I am going to be doing the Read Doris tag for Doris from Aldi Books' 50th birthday today. Yay! Happy birthday, Doris! This tag was created by Sean the Book Maniac and Britta Bowler, and I just think that it is a marvelous way to celebrate Doris on her birthday. There are 5 questions, and all of these questions will spell out the name Doris. Prompt number 1. D is for Doris, of course. And this is to name a book about or by a Doris. And for this one, I am going to be probably very typical of most booktubers and say the Our Doris series by our own Charles Heathcote. I believe that Doris has actually read at least the first book in this series. I haven't yet, but I plan to in the very immediate future. I read Charles' Heir to Murder just a couple weeks ago, actually, and really enjoyed it. It was really witty, and I hear that the Our Doris series is very, very funny. So that definitely in these times we are living in, we could use some humor. So I am definitely looking forward to reading that series. And I have heard that the Doris in these books is quite curmudgeonly and kind of mean. And that is nothing like our Doris. but um, but I still think that it will be enjoyable to read. And from what I remember, our Doris, BookTube's Doris, really enjoyed this book. So I'm looking forward to it. Prompt number 2. O is for outside your comfort zone. A book you've read or want to read that was well outside your comfort zone. And I actually have 3 for this. 2 that I've read and 2 that I haven't read yet. The first one is War and Peace, which you can see back here, by Leo Tolstoy. That was definitely out of my comfort zone, and not because it is a long book, not because it is a classic, because both of those things I read quite frequently, but simply because war is a big part of the book, and it's in the title, obviously. I am usually not somebody who likes to read about gory battle scenes or read about military strategy or politics or anything like that. So to read something that is specifically said in the title is about war was very much outside my comfort zone. But I did end up really enjoying it, and I'm glad I read it. I mean, obviously the war parts were not my favorite, but there is a tremendous amount of family drama in there as well, and that was definitely a lot more my wheelhouse. Another one that I read recently that is out of my comfort zone was The Bromance Book Club by Lyssa K. Adams. I'm usually not one that likes contemporary romance. I find contemporary romance sexy times to be a little uncomfortable to read about. But this one was really good. It did have some sexy times, but not a ton. And it was about a couple who was already married trying to save their marriage, and I'm all for that. And the last one that I haven't read yet that's out of my comfort zone is Bird Box by Josh Malerman. And I don't know why I want to read this, and I will probably change my mind. But I've been hearing so many things about it on booktubes. Yeah, it sounded really interesting and maybe more of like a psychological thing. I don't know, but I am not a horror fan in any capacity. I will never ever watch the movie, but for some reason the book and the premise of this book just intrigues me. R is for recommended, a book, topic, or theme that Doris has featured on her channel that intrigued you. Tell us all about it and the books you've read or want to read thanks to Doris. And Doris reads a ton. And she reads a lot of nonfiction, and she likes a lot of character based books, and with a lot of like beautiful writing, and I like all that stuff, but generally I'm more of a plot driven person, and I don't read a lot of nonfiction, although that is one of my goals for this year, is to read more nonfiction. So I have chosen a couple of books that she recently has talked about. One of those is Gilead by Marilynne Robinson, I believe. I had heard about this book other places, probably before I started BookTube, but I'd never really known a lot of what it was about. And just the way Doris has talked about it recently just makes it sound so beautiful and so heartfelt, and yeah, she just that is the one thing that I love about Doris, is that, among many things, but the one thing that I love about Doris is just the way she talks about books. She just lights up, and just makes every book that she loves sound like you have to go out and get that book right now and read it. So Gilead is definitely going to be on my spring TBR for sure. And then the other one that I found extremely interesting was They Called Us Enemy by George Takei. And I'm not a Trekkie, but I do know who George Takei is, obviously. And I had no idea that he was put into the internment camps during World War II. And when she talked about this graphic novel that he had written about his experience, I was just really intrigued. I is for indeed. She's crazy about cats and bees and any other creature. So it is to name a book about cats or bees or any other animal, or notably featuring them in the story and or on the cover. And for this one, I am going to choose Beatrix Potter, A Life in Nature by Linda Lear. I read this book for Nonfiction November last year, and well, obviously on the cover you can see that there are all kinds of wonderful little animals on there. And Beatrix Potter, if you weren't aware, is the author of the Peter Rabbit series. And she's just a much beloved children's author. And she was apparently a scientist and just led a very interesting life in Victorian England, and just kind of, just defied all the norms for women in Victorian times. And just her love of nature and of animals and science, just they all make me think of Doris. And and I really loved this book, and I honestly think if Doris hasn't read it, this is one that she would enjoy as well. And that leads me to S for Skyrocket, a book you think Doris might like and that you want her to read. Let's get that Tower of Doom up to the stratosphere. I will be perfectly honest that Doris's Tower of Doom gives me heart palpitations. Every time she and Gabriel have to try to get a book off the bottom of the Tower of Doom, my heart stops. I just think about all of those books coming crashing down. I can't. So I'm going to try not to think about it, but if you're going to put another book on your Tower of Doom, Doris, I really think you should put the Beatrix Potter book on that. And it's a pretty chunky book, so it would definitely raise that Tower of Doom up above your window. Also, though, and I have no idea if Doris has read this book or not, but if you haven't, Doris, I really think that you might like Passage to India by E.M. Forster. It's a classic, and the reason I think that Doris would like this book, if she hasn't read it already, is it's about India, which Doris likes to do themed reading months around different cultures, and it is about the British occupation of India and about the culture clashes between the two cultures, and just the different dynamics, even among their own culture. I always have thought that this book was really interesting as it concerns cultural cultural relationships, and I think that is something that Doris would really like. And also, there is a scene in this book towards the end that gives me really atmospheric hive, swarming hive vibes. So, yes, I recommend this book to you, Doris. So, that is the Read Doris tag. And I really hope that you enjoyed this little tag. I hope that you will go check out Doris's channel if you haven't already. She is a delight. Her vlogs are just the best thing ever. She has cute cats. She has a really fun son that she has a great relationship with. And she loves nature, so her vlogs are always filled with beautiful scenery. And I just love her as a booktuber. So, happy birthday, Doris, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, friends.